Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Think at Tech Thursday. My name is Maribel Martinez, alongside with Mr. David Villarreal. Today's session is Good Notes, using Good Notes with Mr. Jose Rodriguez, our CIT at Escalante Middle School. And in today's session, if you're wondering how to use GoodNotes in your classroom, explore essential tools, and learning how to practice presentation features in GoodNotes, this is your session today. Before we get started, some housekeeping items. Please remember to keep your mic muted, register through the PD system, drop your questions in the chat, and use the remote check-in PSJA tech. Door prizes at the end and must be present to win. So we don't have anyone on board, but we'll go ahead and leave this till the very end, the quick poll. The objectives for today is to learn what GoodNotes can unlock in your classroom, practice using the tools to explore the presentation methods within GoodNotes, and exploring methods that GoodNotes can enhance to deliver instruction in your classroom. What is GoodNotes? If this is new to you and you've never used it before, GoodNotes is just a digital note-taking app that lets you write, draw, highlight, organize content during presentations with your students. It allows you the flexibility of handwriting with digital tools, making it easy to annotate on PDFs, worksheets that you already have that you are using through your curriculum. You can create interactive notebooks, present lessons, and keep teaching resources organized in one place. Ways that you can use it in your class. You can use them to present lessons interactively with your students. It's a way to go paperless and organize all materials within your class having to do with your curriculum and your content area. You can use it to support student engagement, which is one of the cool features that Mr. Rodriguez will cover you today, as far as how you can use it with your students in order to keep them engaged. You'll be able to annotate PDFs, facilitate small groups within your classrooms, model note-taking, which is always important for our students to do, and also provide feedback to our students. So I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Joe Rodriguez. He is the CIT at Jaime Escalante Middle School, campus instructional technologist at Jaime Escalante. Okay, sir, I will hand it over to you.
Perfect, thank you. So first, before we go into actually presenting on GoodNotes, another key aspect to GoodNotes is that it frees up the teacher to kind of move through the classroom as you're delivering instruction rather than being stuck to either an HDMI cable with their laptop or with the document camera. So as the years have progressed, the hope is to move away from those document cameras and move into newer technology. That way we can hopefully model for students what their future will be like whenever they enter the workforce, right? So we do understand there is a high value to writing and using papers and pencils and things of that nature. So using something like GoodNotes will help kind of bridge paper, pencil with technology, right? So that's that. And it's also a very useful presentation method. So it's great for PDF editing and stuff like that, but it's also a great presentation method instead of something like slides or PowerPoint or Nearpod or whatever else that you decide to use, right? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick. And we'll go with the audio, that's fine. Cool. So here is what your iPad pretty much should look like whenever you open it up. And this is specific to district-issued iPads. So if you have a district-issued iPad, you are going to have access to GoodNotes for free. If you have your own iPad that you purchase out of your own pocket, then you can download GoodNotes from the App Store, and you'd have to purchase it. That's the only difference, right? So if you have a district-issued iPad, then you should have a bunch of district installed apps, right? So you should see My Apps, you should see all of the Microsoft stuff, so on and so forth. If you don't see it and you have a district-issued iPad, then likely what has happened is that you haven't signed into the device correctly, right? So I want to show you really quickly how to do that. So you go to your settings, and what you would do is up here where it says my name currently, what you would do instead is you would click on that and you would sign in. So right here it says my PSJA email. It should also say your PSJA email. And doing so will install some of the apps that you need and also give you 200 gigs of free iCloud storage, right? Which can be useful. It's just another cloud-based storage system, similar to OneDrive or Google Drive, right? So in doing so, you're going to have access to getting Goodnotes, right? So if you're someone who struggles to maneuver through apps on iPads, because I know that a lot of people aren't really familiar with Apple products, what you could do is just with your finger, touch in the middle of the screen and drag down. That's going to bring out this little keyboard thing that you can type on, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put Goodnotes in. This is what the app looks like. We're going to click on that. And when you go into Goodnotes for the first time, you're going to see everything's going to pretty much be blank. You're not going to have access to really view anything besides seeing the new. So here on this landing page, on this top left corner, you're going to have the option to pretty much bring out your options, right? So we have documents, favorites, search. I really wouldn't mess with shared just because, truthfully, when you do try to share it, it doesn't do a good job of actually sharing access, right? So you have your documents, your favorites, and we'll cover this a little bit more in detail in a little bit, and then searching. So if you want to search for a specific title of a notebook that you've done or something, you can do so, right? So before we get into what these things look like in terms of presentation method, we're going to cover what you can do, right? So we're going to click on new. And when you go new, you have all of these options, right? So you have a notebook, you have study sets, folders, images. You have the option to scan a document, take a photo, put up a quick note, uh, record, or import. So most of the time, teachers most likely are going to live within the notebook section and the import section, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click import. When I click on import, it's going to open up all of my drives. So you would have to sign into it. And once you sign into it, you'll have access to it, right? So I have my Google Drive, my OneDrive, my iCloud Drive. I don't have anything saved here, so that's why there's nothing there. And then my local storage on my iPad. Once again, I don't have anything saved there. That's why there's nothing there. So here, what you're going to see is things that are blocked off, kind of grayed out, which are the slides, the forms. Those things are not going to be able to be imported this way. There's a different way to do that, and we'll cover that in a little bit. But what you will see is that images and PDFs are easily available. So I have a lot of forms and sheets and things of that nature. So you don't really see anything really available besides those few things at the top, right? So that's something to keep in mind whenever you're going to try to upload something that's going to be a slide, okay? Same thing on OneDrive. I'll go to my files. You're going to see that PDFs will be easily available, but other files probably won't be super available right now, right? So we'll cover that a little bit more in detail in a little bit. So that's what that looks like. You can import. You can also create a new notebook, right? So if I go new notebook right here, you have different options in terms of what you want the paper to look like. It's a little bit easier to view when you're viewing it through your iPad. But right here, you'll see the names. You have a blank, dotted paper, squared paper. If you go a little bit lower, you got corner notes, legal. You got a planner. You got a bunch of different options, right? If you're a music teacher, then you have music sheets. So that's pretty useful. So I'm going to go ahead and just go with corner notes. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to put this as sample notebook. I'm going to hit create here. So what you'll see here, once you do get in, is you have, I'm actually going to go ahead and enable this little quick tool. That way you can follow along a little bit more easily. I need my accessibility touch. Okay, perfect. So right here, this will be easier for everyone to follow along with, hopefully. On this top left corner, right here under with the little 4 squares, that is essentially going to be pretty much all the sheets that you have there within your notebook, right? So if I add another document or another page, I'm going to go ahead and add a squared paper on this one. It's just going to continue to add, right? So this will continue to add depending on what I'm deciding to use. And whatever I decide to favorite, I decide to favorite this right here. It's going to be saved under my favorites or my bookmarks, specifically within this notebook, right? So that can also be useful. A lot of times, whenever teachers import, let's say 18 to 20 pages of worksheets, whatever the case is, they may only need to present on 2 of them. So favoriting or benchmarking, bookmarking your specific documents that you're going to be covering is helpful because rather than having to scroll through each one, you can just go to your bookmarks and you have those pre-saved. It's quick and easy to use, right? So up here, what we have is your annotation tools, a keyboard, and then you also have the speaking option, right? So if you click on, right now you see this highlighted. If I were to press on that really quickly, it removes those and it pretty much just becomes a presentation method, right? So if I go and I select the keyboard, it's going to give me the option to just type. And you'll see there's a little outline across right here. Hopefully you can see it. That's pretty much just all of my typing space, right? So if I continue to go down, it's pretty much as if I was typing on a Word document, right? So you have the option to annotate, you have the option to type, and then you also have the option to record. I'm not going to do that right now just because it will mess with me screen sharing, so it's not going to work. But it is something that you could try to mess with on your own, and it can be useful for you. So looking here at the tools, we have the basic marker or the pen, and you can kind of personalize it however you desire over here, whether you want to change the way it looks with a brush pen, a ball pen, fountain pen, right? All of these are basic standard tools that you'll have available. If you have a new line, you probably have access to all of these on your whiteboard as well. So on your new line board, eraser, highlighter. This is a strike through. We'll cover that. I'll use that as an example in a little while. But the things that I want to cover more specifically are your timer and your laser. So a lot of times teachers want to use a timer on Goodnotes. The issue with using the timer on Goodnotes is if you hit start on go ahead and show you real quick with that. It's going to go 3, 2, 1, right? But it's not going to give you any indicator that it stopped, right? So if you are going to use a timer that is built into Goodnotes, you just have to make sure that you're actually aware of it, because if you don't look at it, you will lose track of it and then you'll go over time, right? And the other thing is this laser pointer. So here in this laser pointer, you have 2 options. You have the dot and the streak. So I'm going to go ahead and show you here on a different document how that can be useful for you. So here we're going to go ahead and zoom in. So in our campus, a big thing that we try to do is we try to provide students the opportunity to kind of read out loud, right? Gives them over the fear of public speaking. That's a big positive, but also allows everyone the opportunity to hopefully stay attentive and pay attention, right? So if we use this little dot, what you're going to see here is that sometimes it might be difficult to follow or difficult for students to actually like keep up with it, right? So using the streak for me personally, I think is a better move just because it stays there for a little bit longer, right? So if you're going to be covering information, or if you want to not necessarily annotate with a pen, but kind of just highlight keywords, right? Like let's say I want to highlight Fahrenheit, but I don't want to actually have to do this and then come out, get my eraser, and then do this, right? You can always just use your laser, and that's going to help kind of emphasize the things that you find to be important, right? The other thing is this tape, it's called tape there. It's pretty much just hides content, right? So if there's keywords that
Joe, we can't hear you. Can you hear us?
it's pretty much just the same as if a teacher had a document camera, right? So at this point, it's just a matter of if you want to show strategies, whether it be highlighting keywords, whether it be working out the problem. It's pretty much just like if you're working on pen and paper, right? So that's pretty standard. Hopefully, there isn't many questions on that. But if you do have questions, you can go ahead and just ask either your CIT. If anyone's available here, then you can ask right now. But if not, you can ask your CIT or anyone else that is hopefully familiar with Goodnotes, right? So that is the first method, which is the basic PDF, right? The next thing that we're going to look at is a folder. So down here, I have a folder, which is the ELA folder, right? Something that happens often is that teachers that are new to Goodnotes don't realize that they have to make a journal for each period, right? So if you go ahead and create your first journal, which is in this case this one right here. So in this one you see that there is 8 pages, right? What you can do here is go ahead and duplicate that. So we're going to click on this little down arrow right here. I'm going to click on that. Sorry. Click on that. And I'm going to go ahead and hit duplicate, right there. So I'm going to hit duplicate. And at this point, all I have to do is rename this. So I'm using my finger here. Rename this. I'm going to rename this to 4th period. That's fine. So once I come into here, I got 4th period right here. I'm going to click on that, and I can just edit this. I'm going to remove that and go 4th. And what you'll see is all the documents that were there are going to be here as well. So now, whatever you need to do in terms of, if you have different learners from 1st period to 4th period, you could bookmark different pieces of information depending on the class. And then, of course, if you need to add additional information, you can go ahead and do so. So, for instance, let's say that I needed to add a key image for these kids, right? What we can do is we can go ahead and take a photo. Hopefully this doesn't stop casting. I'm going to go ahead and just take a photo of this right here. Use that photo. And that will be imported here into journal number 4 or for 4th period. It wouldn't necessarily happen for any other ones. You'd have to duplicate it again, right? But it allows you the freedom to kind of differentiate between your class periods in terms of what is needed. So you could import all of the stuff into one journal, make copies of that, and then as you go, add whatever you need, whether it be images, whether it be scratch paper. If I need to add scratch paper to work out more problems, you can do that as well, right? So that is important to make sure that you have different sections in terms of a journal per class, because otherwise you're going to have to erase all your work and then redo it, erase all your work and then redo it, right? So we've covered a basic PDF, which was up here. We've covered folders and specifically journals by period. And something that I think is very valuable with Goodnotes that often gets overlooked is the ability to kind of use flashcards. So do we have any participants in here right now? Including
No, we don't.
Okay,
No.
that's perfectly fine. So we're gonna use you two as an example on this. So let's imagine that we're all in the same room together and that we are gonna cover this, right? So these two are different options, which is practice and smart learn, right? So the difference between these two is in practice, you can kind of go continuously. You could just continue to scroll through this as much as you want. On the smart learn, it is a good way to try to do like a check for understanding, right? So you can pull the whole class together. So that's what we're gonna do right now. We're gonna go with smart learn. So we have David and Maribel here. So based off of this right here, what do you think is connected to this? A deeper vein. Go ahead.
What is connected to it?
Yeah, like what do you think this means? What do you think this is a definition to what term?
To maybe a landform or to be
so
honest,
that's okay. That's a good guess. That's perfect, right? So right here, what we would do is I would just tap on the middle. So I'm gonna just tap right here, and what this actually is for a golf, right?
Okay.
So because we got it incorrectly, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna swipe from the middle to the left. So to the left because we didn't get it correctly, right? So it's continuing to repeat. So once again, we have a deep ravine. Any guesses?
David, help me here. So we're looking at the map of Texas. Does it have to do with anything like with this flashcard?
So it's going to be the same one. So it was literally the exact same question. It was the exact same definition, right?
Okay.
So and this can be useful for kids because like as you see just now, like we kind of got into a moment where we covered the exact same definition, but we still weren't super sure, or we weren't super confident in ourselves, right? So that's something that kids go through a lot. So using flashcards like this, in which they get an
Of course,
opportunity to see
I mean,
the same.
just the visual in itself, and even if I got it wrong, I'm going to remember it because of the visual and the connection you make. So
Yeah.
this is great. Yes.
Yeah. So on this one, so what you'll see here is right here is there's 7 cards in this one, right? So in this case, we're gonna do it one more time. We're gonna go to the 7 really quickly. So what do y'all think is highlighted right now?
The golf.
So that's the border, right?
A border. Okay.
Yeah. Right. So we're gonna say that we got it correct, right? So let's say we knew it. Right here we see 1 out of 7 complete. So one of them was good. We still have 6 more to go, right? So right here, a line separating 2 political or geographical areas. What do you think that is?
A border.
A border. Perfect. So we got it correct. Great. Right. So now, what do you think this little highlighted area is?
That is South Texas, the valley.
Yeah, Rio Grande Valley.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
good.
okay.
Perfect. Right.
The
So
kids
we have,
would probably say 956 or something
yeah,
like that.
which is great, right? And then we have these 3 stars. What do y'all think this is?
The capital, Austin, Texas. 3 major cities in Texas.
3 major cities in Texas. Yeah, perfect. Right. Great. Right here, what's highlighted in blue?
To me, that would be more like the Gulf.
Gulf of America.
Perfect.
David says Gulf of America, but
Yeah, whatever you want to do in terms of the class right there, that's your choice, right? Here we have the sections of Texas, right? Regions of Texas. And then once again, we have the same one that we struggled with on the last one, right? A deep ravine. What is this?
I don't know. I mean, yeah. So is it a place in Texas?
No, it's just a definition. So we'll do this one more time. So that's a Gulf, right?
It's
So
still
we're
the
gonna,
Gulf. Like I didn't know
yes.
that's what it was. To me, it's like the ocean or something like that.
Yeah. So in this case, we got this one wrong, right? We're gonna swipe this to the left. We didn't get it. So it's gonna continue to keep that flashcard in there. So once again, we have a deep ravine. What do we think this is?
The Gulf.
Perfect. So now we got it correct. Now we completed all of them, right? So
Awesome.
now as a class, we feel good. Like, you know what? Everyone's on the same page. We all understand. Then we can finish and then we can move on. So the study set or the practice set, the Smart Learn, sorry, that's what it's called. This is a great way to potentially do either entry tickets or exit tickets because it's quick ways to check for understanding that you can incorporate the entire class. And in a similar fashion where right now it was like, even though it was 2 of us or 3 of us collectively, right?
Mm-hmm.
All we have to do within the classroom setting is raise your hand if you think it is, whatever the case is, right? And then if everyone raises their hands or people disagree, that opens up the door for discourse to happen within the students and the teacher, right? And that's when understanding can really happen, right? So right now we're going to highlight those 3 type of things, right? We kind of already showed how to make a duplicate of a folder with a bunch of journals. We already covered the PDF. So what we're going to do here now is we're going to show you how to create a practice set for yourself, right? So that is going to be under right here where it says study set. We're going to click on that. And right here, we're going to go hit sample and hit create. So right here, you have 3 options. You can either type information in. So this could be useful for like definitions. You can import images, or you can write, right? Or you can annotate, right? So I'm going to give you a few different examples here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type first. We're going to keep this simple. We're going to go 2 + 2. And then down here is where you put the answer, right? You have the same options. The thing is here, you have to make sure that it stays the same. So if you type up here, down here, it needs to be type. You might be able to annotate, actually. So if I click annotate, yeah, it's going to let you annotate. Cool. So right there is going to be 4. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to just drag my screen to my left, and it's going to add a new card. So here we're going to go ahead and go with annotation, and we're going to go ahead. We're going to do the same problem, 2 + 2, right? And of course, if you're very artistic, then you can draw, or if you want to write, whatever you'd like to do, you have the capacity to do so here. And it's really on the teacher's creativity to do, right? Here, I'm going to change this to text, 4, right? Cool, we're going to add one more. On this last one, what we're going to do is we're going to import an image, right? So when we go to tap and add an image, it only has the option of a photo library or camera. So you can't search the web for it. You would have to do that separately from this, right? And you have to save it to your
Save it
to
to
your
your
library.
gallery.
Yeah. So right here, I think I have some images saved. So I have texts, I have a keyboard, things of that nature, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna import this one right here. Use. So right here, based off of the information on the screen, we're gonna put regions of Texas, right? So right here, we're gonna leave it as type, and we're gonna put regions of Texas. Perfect. Okay, so let's say that I am happy with these 3 questions. At this point, all I have to do is click on this right here, right next to the edit, right? When I do that, I have the option once again to go Smart Learn or Practice. So I'm going to go Smart Learn, and it's the same questions: 2 plus 2, 4, literally what we just did: 2 plus 2, 4, and then the image, right? And that's pretty much that. That's how that is created. So it's very easy to make these flashcards. And I do think that it provides a good stimulus for these students to have those conversations, right? So we got about 5 minutes left, and in these last 5 minutes, what I want to show you is how to import slides, because I know that is something that most teachers are going to probably want to use this for, right? So I'm going to go ahead and go to my slides right there. So here in slides, I'm going to go ahead and use this presentation that we were looking at a little bit a while ago. What we're going to do is we're going to click on the 3 dots, the ellipses, right? When we click on the ellipsis, we're going to go ahead and go to send a copy right there. Send a copy. And then we're going to have to select PDF. Right,
So
we
most
select
of,
PDF.
I'm sorry to interrupt, because most of our curriculum is on Google Slides, right? So they can't necessarily import the Google Slides, but what you're saying is you can turn it into a PDF, correct?
Yes. So right here, once we select the PDF option, I'm going to hit OK. And when it converts it into the PDF, it's going to ask me where I want to open it. So in this case, I'm going to choose Goodnotes. So I chose Goodnotes. It's going to ask me where within Goodnotes I want to save it. I'm happy with just saving it as a new document, which is what you read down here, new document. New document. And right here, it imported all of the slides that we just did, right?
I like that.
So at this point now, it's just a matter of how do you want to interact with this?
Let's
So like I
say,
said,
let's say this is the teacher's curriculum. This is the lesson for today. They have it ready to cast on their screen, right?
yes, correct. So that's essentially the way this could be used. And then if I wanted to just be a presentation method, I can, in which I just scroll through it, right? If I want to not give away the information here for PSJA Tech, I can go ahead and put the strike through until everyone has done something else, whatever the case is, right? And it's, at this point, it's just a matter of using whatever resources that you want up here, whatever tools, however you want to annotate, however you want to deliver your message, right? At that point, it's really up to the teacher in terms of how they want to use it, right? So what I will say regarding importing slides is sometimes we get very creative in curriculum, and I'm gonna use this right here, the learning walks, as an example. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same exact process. PDF, yes, that's all fine. Takes a little bit of time sometimes on some of those. And open up as Goodnotes as a new document. So some slides are gonna look great. So for instance, this slide right here looks fantastic. Looks pretty much the same as what it would on Google Slides, right? As I go right here, looks good as well. Everything imports correctly, very nice. Everything good. Right here, what you see is down here, information is cut off, right? So if you are someone that uses a lot of text boxes and then reformats your slides, or if the curriculum writer is doing that as well, sometimes when you import certain things, it's not going to look great. It's going to look like this where it cuts off information, right? So that is something to be careful with, just because if you see that there's a lot of text boxes or that it's very low, or they're kind of messing with the margins whenever they're creating their slides, is going to give you some problems whenever you do import it. So that is the one negative to this. So that's something to just look out for and be careful. Right here, like you see, continuing is a little bit cut off, right? Everything else looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does. I mean, if it's some, maybe check it before you're gonna present it, and add any other boxes in there, or try to format it before you present it, right?
Yeah, correct. So make your copy, adjust it as needed, and then from there you can import it. And really, the reason why it could be useful to do this is that way you have the ability to do everything within one location. We've been consistently trying to find a tool that allows us to do everything in one spot, which is deliver instruction, annotate, interact with it, all that stuff, right? We have the
Mm-hmm.
capacity to do so here, right? In which we have all of these wonderful tools that we can use. And then from here, as if we format it correctly, we put it in the correct folder. From here, we can go right into flashcards. We can go right into images. So it's pretty useful. It's a neat tool. It just requires for us to kind of just try and use it uh, beyond just treating it like a document camera, right? So it's a very powerful tool, and hopefully you guys like it. It's
Yes,
pretty fun.
I loved it. I think one of the questions, and I might have missed it at the beginning, just where's the button on there to cast it to your board, like
Sure.
from Goodnotes.
Yeah. So that is going to happen through screencasting. So I'll share my screen one more time.
Mm-hmm.
So from here, let's say I have Goodnotes open, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's going to be the same as whenever you go to a screen beam, right? So you up here in this top right corner, you're going to scroll down. You would click on
Oh.
this button,
Uh-huh.
and then you would select your screen beam.
I got it.
And then from there,
Got it.
you're pretty much just casting from your screen beam, and everything that you do. And the lag, honestly, is pretty good. It's not bad at all. It doesn't lag too much whenever you're annotating and putting your information in.
That's great. I loved it. Jose, thank you so much for your presentation. Very good information. And let me stop recording just real quick.